Today I'm in Hollywood, California, just outside of the Mind Body Fitness Conference, and I'm meeting with Liberty Harper, the U.S. Franchise Director of EnVie Fitness for Women. A little background on Liberty: at the age of 21, she started her first fitness studio called Liberty Fitness, and by the time she turned 24, she sold all 65 locations that she built in that 3-year period. Since then, she's been consulting franchises and making them successful, and is now back at it again, as she's already part of the team that's taken EnVie Fitness for Women from 1 location this January to the 5 they currently have today in October. And now she's going to share a ton of her success strategies with you.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, Liberty?
Hi, how are you?
Good. So I finally get to meet you face to face.
I know. It seems weird because I do feel like I've already met you.
I know.
Through all the Facebook Live stuff.
All the videos. And then, well, we actually got to do a video conference,
Yes.
which is really cool. And so, but this is definitely different. It's funny because I've never seen you from the side. So when I was approaching you, I was like, I think that's Liberty.
And
but
I could tell you were kind of going in like...
it was like a creep, like just creeping in.
But
then it was you. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few different reasons I have you on the show. We've actually already used some of your stuff for a customer update because you've done really, really great things with Facebook groups. We're going to touch on that a little bit. But your background is great. So really quick, just to kind of let people know who you are and what you've been able to do, talk a little bit about your background and what you did at, what was it, 19 or 20 or 21 years old?
Yeah, started young.
Okay, so just talk about what you've done and why you're where you're at today.
Okay, so I'll try to keep it in a nutshell because I can ramble. You can cut me off. But when I was 18, my parents saw Curves as an opportunity. So Curves was pretty new back in 1998, and there were none yet in California, and it was the first really major focused small studio on just women. And I was a personal trainer at the time. I had started working in fitness in high school, loved it. My parents thought, what a great family business opportunity. So we opened the first Curves gym in California, down in San Diego, and then the second location a year later, and we were very successful with those. We had 1,000 members between the 2 locations.
Wow.
And we were actually franchisees of the year, and it was great. But we saw how Curves was growing, which was wonderful for them, but we just thought there's potential for saturation, and I had some ideas for some other things I wanted to do at the ripe old age of 20. So we decided to sell both locations.
Okay.
So we sold both, and I started my own studio, and it was called Liberty Fitness.
Okay.
And decided to use
my
name.
How old are you right now?
I was 21.
You were 21 when you did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually opened it about a week after September 11th, 2001.
Okay.
So I had my
on.
share of road bumps
Right.
along the way there, but overcame those obstacles and built women's only, kind of a mix of group fitness with circuit training and some other things I had come across in personal training and teaching in gyms all over San Diego. And then someone approached me and they said I would be a franchisee if you were to franchise this. I see the vision of where you're going.
And how old were you when that happened?
22.
So a year later.
Yeah, kind of all within that same time frame. And
Okay.
so it kind of just, my parents had invested already in that business to help me get it started, but went to them and said, someone wants to franchise this. And we went to a franchise attorney, and literally it feels like we blinked. And within 2 years, we had grown to almost 60 locations.
So you had 60 locations, and you were 24?
24, yeah.
So you learned a lot about franchising.
Yes.
And you learned a lot about developing systems, because you can't have 60 locations unless there's at least one doing really, really well that can teach the others how to do well as well, right?
Yeah.
So you've learned a lot about that.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're 24 years old, you sold it.
Sold it, very fortunately. Some private equity people came and bought it.
Fast forward to today.
Yeah.
And now you started EnVie Fitness.
Well, I didn't start it.
Okay,
I
so tell
came
me
into
about that.
EnVie. Yeah, so after my family sold Liberty Fitness in 2004, I actually stayed with the new owners for another 3 years.
Okay.
And they were really involved in franchising prior to that. So they got me more involved in the franchising space, in the industry, learning, meeting people, understanding better systems to help our franchisees. And when I resigned from the company in 2007, I stayed in franchising, not fitness. And I actually consulted with different franchise companies, from fast food to interior design to all sorts of different things. I traveled around the world, went to Dubai and some other interesting places. And mostly I held the hands of the franchisees of those systems. I helped them to open their business and to train them in marketing and sales and support and things like that. But I missed fitness a lot. So I kept running for myself, and I would teach here and there. But in 2012, I was actually consulting with a fast food brand, and ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And that kind of makes you reflect on some things. And I decided that throughout the pregnancy, I would stay very fit and healthy, and after the pregnancy, get back into fitness again. So Gracie was born in 2013, and I started working with a fitness franchise that year, which was a big box gym, and realized that wasn't really quite the right fit for me because I was used to small studios, and I had consulted with some other small studios in the years prior to that too. And EnVie approached me. They were based in Australia, and they still are. And they said, we really want to grow in the US, and we've kind of started that process, but maybe we need to redo some things. Come help us grow. So it was just the right timing for me, basically. And I decided to join them.
You have the first location here in the US?
So it's the first location of what EnVie is today. So
EnVie is today.
EnVie is today. So they have locations in Australia, but it's more of a, if you take a gym and shrink it and focus it on women, that's what EnVie is. It's awesome customer service and support, and it's group fitness with machines. So members come and go, but they also come for particular classes. And now in the US, EnVie is group fitness. It's group sessions and small group training without big machines and things like that, minus spin. We do spinning. But yeah, so we changed things.
So EnVie, the way it is today, began January of this year.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so right now, as we're filming this, it's the first week of October of that same year. So we're like 10 months in, right? And how many members do you currently have to that first location, the one no one has ever heard of until January? How many locations, or how many
we
members?
We did a little pre-sale, but we've got about 150 members.
150 members. Okay, cool. And we'll get into some of your sales techniques and also your ability to keep members, because that's really cool. Both of those things are great, which I'm sure you've learned a lot in the last 10 years and so. But also, on top of getting 150 members to that location, you've also added how many other locations?
Yeah, so we now have El Paso, Texas, Vancouver, Canada, Idaho, and Ohio.
Wow.
So so we've grown through franchising as well, and those
because that's your game and you get it.
Yes, and we have just an incredible support team ready to grow the franchise as a whole. So my studio that I have with a business partner is the flagship studio, and we want to actually own 5 or more ourselves too. But we first want to grow the franchise as well, and just really solidify our systems in today's market. So things have changed. I learned a lot and know a lot from 10 years of experience, but this last 10 months has been a huge learning experience for me, and pretty humbling even.
Now you have 150 paying members.
So some of the members are free, but there's some trades in there.
Okay, so trades.
And by trades too, it's people also referring members, or it's someone trading for services, or various reasons why someone might have a complimentary membership. We've given a few away in the community just to women who just really need the membership.
Okay, but most of them, they're paying members, right? Okay.
Of varying levels from pre-sale through today.
So now, to get a person that never heard of you to become a paying member, and a lot of them, your attrition's really good, which we're going to talk about. Even though you have 150 members, you may only lose up to 3 in a month, really, right? And so let's start from the beginning. So what's the marketing message like, or what is the marketing? How do you get people to you?
So the marketing message is mostly through Facebook. And Facebook has really been a primary way of advertising. And frankly, Loud Rumors helped tremendously with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Because we went about 4 months of trying different things that we just didn't really feel were generating enough leads. And actually our Facebook marketing prior to using Loud Rumor was having one person generate some leads for us, and it was resulting in about 25 leads a month with $1,000 a month in budget. Where once we brought Loud Rumor in for the same budget, we're generating 125 leads a month, sometimes even more. So that was a big change for us. we actually had to change our whole sales process. So starting in April, we brought in Loud Rumor to help generate more leads. But what I really learned a lot about was putting the right staff in place to properly follow up with the leads. Because you can generate 1,000 leads a month, but if you're not following up, you're not going to sell anything.
Right. Let's hold off here.
Yeah. Trash can going by?
Yeah.
Seems to be a main thoroughfare.
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. So Sam, we're gonna, maybe we'll keep it, who knows. Next thing she's gonna come out with a bell. Bring it. Okay, so so you had you have 125 leads. Obviously your sales system wasn't prepared for that because it wasn't dealing with that before.
Right. No,
right?
The sales system was primarily myself trying to do everything, and I actually found myself in that role of working in my business, not on it. And I had anticipated I would be the person out in the community generating leads that way. I also was teaching 13 or 14 classes a week,
right?
Doing literally all the things that I would say to someone, "Hey, back
and
up,
Gracie.
you should." And Gracie and my daughter, and a lot of things going on. So it wasn't all working the way I was hoping it would. So we had to really step back. Unfortunately, we stepped back early. It was 4 months in, 5 months in, which felt like an eternity, and any studio owner will understand my words when I say every month is like an eternity when things aren't flowing properly.
Right.
But to
That's
step
any
back,
business.
it's any business, any small business, any large business. But we really needed to figure out what to do in order to make it run smoother and sign up more members, because there were a few months that we really didn't even get up to 15 members in that month.
Right.
It was slow. So we redid our whole sales process too, brought in someone to focus mostly on sales, so it took it off my plate. I teach less, things like that, so that we could actually accommodate those leads and follow up properly.
And one of the things you said is something that I really want to touch on, because I've noticed in the fitness industry, this is a problem for a lot of people. You said that you can get 1,000 leads, but if you don't have the proper system to go ahead and follow up with them and turn them into something, then you're not going to be able to get any value out of it, and they're not going to close themselves.
Right.
A lot of people have, everybody has a good gym. Some people have a great gym, but most people would be able to get people to pay them money and sign up. The problem is most people don't just sign up. You take people like my wife, for instance. She's very passive. She'll go in, she'll take a class, she may love it, but she won't sign up unless she's asked and followed up with. She'll walk out the door because she doesn't like that confrontation. To her, that's confrontation, even if it's good, right? But if you were to ask her, she's a sucker and buys anything. And so, and now, not to say that she's a sucker for buying your membership, but the point is, she'd be easy, especially if she likes it, right? But you have to have a process in place for that. And I think too many gyms have that mentality of, well, if they like it, they'll buy. If they don't like it, I'm not going to chase them. That's not what I do. Right? And
definitely.
What do you think about that mindset?
Well, and I think that's very true, and I also think that a lot of studio owners feel like they've got the best place ever, and they know their existing members are really happy, and they feel like, as long as they come and they try us, they're going to join. I was saying those same things. Once they're in, they're going to join. That wasn't necessarily true. Right. But they would try our free trial period. They were also trying others' free trial period. If those others were, and I'm not going to say aggressive in a bad way, but more aggressive in terms of the follow-up and asking them to join, they were going to get the business and we were not. So we really had to become more aggressive in a comfortable way. And we kind of call it EnVieizing it.
More aggressive, not aggressive.
Not aggressive in a bad way.
If you and I were competing, if we had the exact same concept and we're only a block away, everything's the same. Pricing, structure, all that's the same. The only difference, I call them like 3-4 times more than you did. At the end of the year, I have more sales.
Yes.
That's just it. And I'm not crazy aggressive. I'm just doing a little bit more than you are, right? But what I've noticed a lot of people will do, and let me know what your thoughts, because you've obviously worked with 60 locations, right? 60 plus locations now, and you've helped other franchises of all different types. What a lot of people will do is, if the marketing isn't closing sales on its own, without like a real sales process, if the marketing isn't closing sales, people will change marketing.
Yes.
As opposed to doing what you did, which is improve the sales process to make it match the marketing, right? And so you'll hear things like, oh, the leads are bad.
Yeah.
But all that really means is the lead didn't close itself.
Right.
The lead didn't come in, like it so much that they asked, where do I sign?
Right.
Right. And that's just not the case. And a great example, I actually did this in a Facebook Live video. I'll use Molly's example. Can we use B-roll footage later of Molly? Molly's here. So we had a salesperson that was in before, which I think you actually know, Logan, right? Because you had worked with Logan, but then you and I ended up really communicating towards the end, right? So Logan was a nice guy, really nice guy, but he was a little more rough around the edges. Didn't really understand a lot of the terminology. He was young, 25 years old, but his book demo to show ratio, meaning how many people we had booked and how many people showed, was like 10 to 15%. It was bad. He would book 10 demos and maybe 10-15% of them would show. And then on top of that, his closing ratio was like 15%, right? Great guy, but he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
He has to improve to be a salesperson. Now, if I was like most people, I wouldn't have fired Logan. Logan would still be there. I would fire Sarah, right? And Chloe, the people that do the marketing to generate the leads that Logan was approaching.
Right.
And I didn't choose to do that because I looked at the leads. These are people that fit the demographic, that fit the type of people that are our customers. And we brought on Molly, right? Who you guys can't see, but she's sitting right here and you'll see the B-roll. And Molly, when she books 10 demos, she's like upset with herself when one doesn't show. Because she does a really good job of setting the expectation and keeping them accountable, and they show to their appointments. So all their booked appointments show. And then on top of that, her closing ratio is like 40 to 50%. It's the same leads. Nothing's changed. All we did was say, look, we have marketing that's bringing in people that fit the demographic. Now we just need somebody that can present the project, or present the product that we offer and follow up consistently and develop the right relationships and build trust. And that's it. And so what you ultimately did was that, right?
And we're always doing it. I would say that from my studio to our other studios, we're constantly either training and retraining staff or finding the right fit. Because I think maybe for Logan, that would just be frustrating for him anyway every day.
Oh, absolutely.
If I had a staff member who wasn't, if she was booking appointments and the people weren't showing, and then from those people they weren't joining, what a frustrating job. I wouldn't want someone who worked with me to feel that way every day. Yeah, so I think that's going to be a constant in any business, and especially in fitness, and it can, that's a whole other 5 episodes, right? To talk about staffing and the right people and training.
Let's talk about your sales process. So you get a lead in, and predominantly there are more people filling out the forms in exchange for your offer, right? Yeah. And you've run a few different offers. I think the free week has been the more popular one.
Free week is popular, and we still want to test different lengths of trials too, and see how each one pans out. But yeah, generally free week.
Okay, so now you're going to get an email, right? And that email has that leads information.
Yes.
So what does that process look like from there on?
So from there, we have an email process now where that email goes to 3 different people. And we have a lead salesperson, her name is Trish, and Trish is usually the first one on it. But if she knows there's a period of time where she's doing something else, the other 2 gals who are part of that know to check the email, so that as soon as possible, that email will get a follow-up.
What's your goal? How fast do you get them on the phone?
As quickly as possible, but it would be within an hour. Realistically, I've got to say an hour. Depends on the time of day. I would say when Trisha's working regularly, though, it's within 10-15 minutes because it pops up on her phone.
Do you notice there's a difference with the leads you call within 5-10 minutes versus the ones that take a couple hours?
Yes.
What are you noticing?
They're answering more quickly. And I mean, you think about the process too, so they're probably on their phone and they've just filled it out, and then all of a sudden this number calls and they figure that's probably them already calling me. So ideally we'll get to a place where we're calling immediately, and that's an issue of maybe adjusting our business model. So when we first started EnVie, we really didn't think that we would have to have this fully focused salesperson like ready to call as soon as someone. Now it's a good problem. We'd rather have so many leads coming in where we need to follow up properly than, oh no, we can't get enough leads. That would be horrible. Right. So for us though, when it was just me, it was taking much longer.
Of course. Well, because you have other things you're doing too.
Yeah, it was not a good process. So we call as quickly as possible.
So we're going to talk about 2 different directions here.
Okay.
We're going to talk about what you say when they answer, which we'll do first, but in a minute, just to set it up for everybody watching and listening, we're also going to talk about if they don't answer, what you do. So let's talk about if they do answer, right? What do you say on the call? What's that call look like?
So that call generally looks like we had their form fill online. They fill out their information for us, and we wanted to book them in for a free workout with EnVie, and that they have their free week, and let's get them started. So we generally go right to let's go ahead and book that now. Okay. And it's also, in terms of sales and all the different techniques and scripts and things like that, just giving them an option, what's good for you kind of thing. Right. We used to engage the leads a lot more on the phone, but we didn't feel that was getting us anywhere. We wanted to get them in the door. Like, let's make an appointment.
And
We're going to ask
engage
you
in
about
there.
your goals. We really want to know more about you and explain the studio to you. But it's, do you know where we're located? Great, let's get you in. So
Okay,
that's
good.
worked better for us than
Cool. And
like
so when a
the
person
conversations.
comes in, what's that experience like? So let's say I'm that lead. I just got off the phone with you, booked the appointment for 5 o'clock today. Fast forward a few hours, it's 5 o'clock. I walk in the door. What's the process like?
Yeah, so our process is we have a really simple form. Because I think one thing people don't like when they go to a new gym or any place is to sit down and fill out 10 forms. So you have
Right.
to do the forms. So we're about to take a class. Quick form, and we ask them questions about what their goals are and what they like, so we can speak to their version of
How
the
long do you
studio,
think
right?
it takes to fill out your form?
A minute.
Okay, so
Maybe a
quick.
minute.
There's
Super
not
quick.
like
Per Q.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
per
cool.
Q, liability, signature. From there, because we're classes only, we're group fitness only, kind of depends on what they're taking. There's a setup process if they're going to take a spin class. So there's some other things. But we really like to understand what they're looking for and what their goals
Okay.
are.
All right, cool. And so now I finished filling out this form.
Mm-hmm.
What's next?
So we're going to have them try the class. But
Okay.
we also, there's one thing I forgot to say, whether it's on the phone or even in an email, we'll kind of give them the heads up, not even kind of, we do give them a heads up that there will be a first time offer that we're going to talk to them about. First day offer that they'll want to take advantage of when they come in the studio. Kind of give them the heads up like, okay, someone's going to sell me, but it's not too salesy.
Right.
And that's kind of our going, not joke, but I feel like that's the vibe we give them. Like, look, we really care and we're this awesome studio and everyone feels like we're family. We don't want to be too salesy with you, but we are going to give you a special offer if you join today.
Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah.
All right, so they come in there already expecting that.
Yeah.
Walls
so they're
down.
Not, walls down. Yeah. So
Okay,
they're not
cool.
like. So we usually get them into. No one ever shows up as early as we want them to. So we'll get them into the workout to try it first, and then have them experience the class, the technology. We get a demo MyZone belt on them, and generally in an email confirmation, we send them information about the heart rate monitoring, so that they know too. That's something different about our studio.
Okay.
So they don't just take classes. We actually do heart rate monitoring as well.
So you're incorporating some techie stuff, which is
Yes.
cool to people too.
Yeah, it's cool, but we don't want to overwhelm. Like there's
Right,
just
right.
always a fine line between this is really cool, but we don't want to overwhelm you.
Right,
so
right. Simple.
yes. Keep
Okay,
it
cool.
simple.
So now I finished taking the class. It was fun. Do I just walk out the door?
No.
Okay.
So we are poised and ready when that class is ending.
Okay.
We try not to stalk them and jump on them, but when the
You just keep on leash and you pull
potential,
them in.
yes, get over here. When the well, one good thing is because they're wearing a demo belt for a heart rate monitoring
have to
system,
bring it
They
back.
have to bring it back.
Oh,
yeah, so they
that's a
can't
good
bolt out
idea.
a side door or anything. They have to give back our belt.
Wow, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
a good. So that's a good investment. Really quick, because I want to go into what you say, but
Yeah.
what does something like that cost?
So wholesale, it depends on who you go with, but it's generally around $60
Per-
$65 per piece.
And so each class has how many?
For demos or
Well, everybody has it,
well,
not just demo
oh yeah,
people,
so
right?
every member has a belt. So
Do
the
they buy their
wholesale,
own, or do they rent them
buy
as they
their
come
own.
in? Oh, okay. So you only
actually-
need a few for the demos.
Yeah, you only need a few.
Okay.
The retail price on a lot of those belts is around $150. Our studios sell them for much less to our members.
Okay.
So we don't really, that's not something where we're looking to make a lot
Right,
of money. We want our
it's
members
the-
to
right.
use it as a tool. But it's a retention tool and
Of course, because they
results
just paid for this
tool
belt, and you're
yeah.
the place that uses it. Okay.
Exactly.
And so, so how many do you have ready to go for demos at worst case? Like, how many do you have at your disposal?
We have 4, I want to say 4 or 5 now.
So you
available.
invested, was it $240 total
Yeah.
to be able to have everyone have to come back to you before they leave.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's
'Cause
a really great
it's
idea.
a really important part of our process and our workouts because we're teaching according to heart rate zones.
Okay.
So in order to interval train the instructors, the members, everyone's watching a screen that has everyone's percent of max heart rate.
And we're going to talk about how that helps retention as well.
Yeah.
But let's stick with the where we're at. So, okay, I just
So-
finished the class. I got this thing on. I have to bring it back to you.
Yes.
So now I bring it back to you. What's the conversation look
So
like?
Mike, how did you like it? How did you
It was
like
good.
class?
It was cool.
Good. So a little different with the MyZone belt because you actually see what you're doing.
Yeah.
To where when you work out other places, you might wonder, did I do enough? Was I doing more than him or her? Or
Now, when you say
how
I
many
might
calories?
see what I'm doing, where am I seeing what
You're
I'm doing?
seeing it on a TV screen.
Okay.
So there's actually a, however many inches, a large TV screen up in the studio, and every single person working out has what's called a tile or a square up on that screen.
Okay.
And it has their information, their actual beats per minute, their percent of max heart rate, the points they earn. There's actually a whole point system associated with it to gamify it, and their calorie burn. so they know exactly what they did. Our demo belts are it's basically the average woman settings.
Right.
So it's kind of a lot of time to set up everyone individually. So when someone comes in to work out, we give them a belt and always say, take it with a grain of salt because it's not set exactly for your body. But know that when you join, you're going to get your own belt.
Another great reason
that's
for them, because now they want to see what their points are really like.
Exactly.
This is genius. I didn't even
I'd
know
like
all
to
this.
think so.
I didn't even know. I'm glad I did this episode more than I,
Well,
Okay,
good.
So now, let's say I don't want to call and bother you because I know you're super busy. How can I learn? Where can I learn how to like set something like this up with myself? Because I know there's people watching or listening that go,
oh my gosh.
So that sounds like there's a TV, there's belts, and somehow they talk to each other.
Yes. Yeah. So there's different companies out there. So MyZone is huge. I mean, they've grown and they've been a wonderful vendor partner. Polar is another one. Polar's been around the longest.
And they'll help with the whole setup?
They help with everything, and it's very simple.
Okay, cool.
It's very simple.
So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Because they can learn. If they really want to do it, they'll learn, right?
Yeah.
We just gave them the resources.
I
And
highly
Sam,
recommend it.
You can put it on the screen. Okay, cool.
Yeah, MyZone and Polar.
All right, cool. And then, all right, so I return it. You say a little different, right, with the heart monitor and everything, and I say, yeah, no, okay. What else?
Yes.
How does it go?
So before you came, I know we had mentioned there would be a first-time discount, and you're trying your free week, which is awesome. And I don't want to really pressure you or be too salesy. However, I'm sure you're curious about the first-time discount.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I like the way you asked that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. What is it?
Because everyone's wondering, right?
Good way to ask.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, if you join today, there's a couple things to keep in mind. I'm in the state of California, so we're in the state of California. There's literally a law about there being 5 days to change your mind.
Okay.
So it's almost like a lemon law when you buy a car, and they actually apply that to fitness.
Okay.
So if you join today, you have 5 days to literally change your mind and get a refund if you want. So if you join today, you're not really committing to anything. You can change your mind. Just putting that out there.
And still stick within your week. It's kind of the same. Okay.
Yes. But we have the MyZone belt that you would normally purchase at X amount, and we normally have some special running. Plus we have a registration fee and there's a monthly fee. So right now we've discounted our monthly fee if you join today. So from $129 to $99, we'll actually give you your MyZone belt free. That's our special right now. And the registration fee is only $85. It's normally $150. So you're basically paying $85 today, and then you can change your mind.
And
so it's kind of a no-brainer. And you
I can leave here with a belt?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a really good deal.
Yeah. So it'd be kind of crazy not to.
Because you've incorporated a tangible thing, like they get to take it home.
Yes.
And now.
And that's based on a committed
cool.
membership. So if someone said, well, and obviously, we try to accommodate. We have month to month, but month to month is a higher monthly, and they have to buy the MyZone belt.
Oh, so that is
retail.
not for a month to month.
No.
So how many months are they committing to?
We assume everyone's based on 12 months.
So that's a 12-month agreement.
Mm-hmm. But so within 12 months,
auto pay?
Auto pay. Yeah. Within 12 months when life happens, we are pretty understanding, and we also have a transfer option to where if 6 months down the road you said, well, no, I'm not injured, I'm not moving, I'm not really coming anymore. You could actually transfer the remainder of your membership to someone else.
Okay.
So you don't ever have to feel completely stuck.
Right.
And you keep that MyZone belt forever. So no matter what you do, wherever you are, you can use it as your tool when you're working out.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, because there's an app on your phone. So you don't have to be in the studio.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sam, really quick, am I still in camera or am I drifting? Because the sun's drifting, so I'm just drifting a little bit. Am I good?
You're still good.
Okay, good. You can keep that, I don't care. Okay, so you got the belt. One thing that you had told me that you do, which I loved, because I recognize that one issue that a lot of people have with like a free week or a free 2-week pass or whatever it is, free 5-day, is they'll get them to come to the first day, but they can't get them to come back to the second, third, or fourth. Now the cool thing is you probably get a lot of people sign up right on that first day because of the whole offer.
Trying, right?
Right.
It's just a matter of what I think, because I have staff members that still struggle with it. Like that's probably the
You're a little better than it.
the main, yeah, and I'm comfortable with it, and I think I guess I'm comfortable with it. And probably for a lot of people, they feel like they're pressuring someone, and if they don't have that
because they don't want to be salesy.
They don't want to be salesy.
Right.
So I make myself feel better by saying, look, I don't want to be salesy. I don't want you to feel pressured. You certainly have the rest of your week, but this is the best deal, and you can still change your mind.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why we do it is we know you're really motivated right now.
Right.
And they're like, okay. Not every single time, but
I've done that
when
too.
I get the chance.
You call yourself out, and I've done that too, where I know I have to say something that's salesy,
Yeah.
but there's no other way to say it.
Right.
I'll say it. I'll say, hey, I'm going to ask you a question. It's going to come off as salesy, but
Yeah.
to be honest with you, I really don't know how else to say it.
Yes.
Am I allowed to say it real quick? And they'll be
And
like, yeah, what is it? can you buy today? Can you sign up with us today? And then they kind of laugh, and I go, I know it's salesy, right? I don't know how else do I ask that? And they go, there's no other way. And I go, well,
because that's what we do.
Right?
I mean,
we're a business.
Yeah, I really want
surprise,
you to join.
We need to make money here.
Yes.
Okay, Sam, I'm drifting. Does the camera need this one or that one? Okay, we're good. Okay.
Oh, because you keep scooching over?
I keep little by little because
this.
Yeah. Okay, so all right. So you said you have a way to get somebody to continually come back in that free trial, right? And what's your process? How do you get people to come back a second time and a third time?
Yeah. So something that I've recently learned from someone else was actually, if someone doesn't join on that first visit, then we want to say, okay, totally understand you want to use your free trial. We can respect that. Let's get you booked for the remainder of your free week.
Okay.
So instead of just hoping they come back or maybe calling later and when are we going to see you kind of thing, we actually pull out the schedule. So we have printed schedules in our studio. Pull out the printed schedule. Look, what classes would you be able to make it to? And it's either time focused because they only can work out at 8:30 or only work out at 5:15, or it's going to be, well, I enjoy cycle and I enjoy boot camp, and so we actually get them in the schedule.
Like you on the computer, on the system?
And we do a lot of things handwritten too. So we're doing both, but we just have found that works well for us.
So they already know, like, I gave you my commitment.
Yes,
I'm watching you log it.
Yes.
You're expecting me to show.
Yes.
And I did it in person, which makes me feel like I gave you my word, I got to show.
Yeah, and I will let her know we're going to follow up with you. So your next time you're coming in is Wednesday. So on Tuesday, we'll call to confirm that we'll see you again that day.
And you do.
And we do. Yeah. And that's really helped keep people coming in that free week.
And if you can get somebody to, what I've noticed across the board, if you can get somebody to come in a second time in that trial, you're way more likely to sign them up than if they just came once.
Yes.
And 3 times or 4 times, it's pretty much a done deal.
Yes.
Very few cases does somebody use a whole week and just stop. It happens.
And they do, and people do it. I mean, but absolutely. You're building more of a rapport and a relationship.
They see the same people again, they say hi.
And they think, oh, well, that class was great. I don't know if the next one will be as great. Oh, that class was great too. And wow, I like that instructor even better. So they start, or they find something they really loved and they want to come back and do that again.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so now that's your process. That's how you get somebody to sign up. That's great. Now, what happens if they don't answer the phone when you call them? So now we're back to lead process. I just got the lead. I called them. They didn't answer. What do you do?
So we do leave a message. And I know there's different thought processes behind call. But we'll call every day for the first 3 days. And we'll leave a message. And then we'll take 2 days off. And then we'll call every day for the next 3 days again. Okay. So that's been, again, something that we've learned. Because we actually hired people to help us with our sales process to refine it, and we really reached out to the fitness community to learn what other people were doing too. So we found that has tended to work well to finally get people on the phone, was that sort of follow-up.
Now I know a lot of people we work with do really well with text messaging. Do you use text at all or no?
You know what, we do a little bit. It actually didn't work as well as I had hoped, and I don't know if it's my market.
Could be.
Some people responded. We had created a really beautiful, a few videos in the spring too, so we were actually texting that video out. We had some good responses once we were engaged with someone. Sometimes if we left a message, that person would text us and say, I'm so sorry, I can't talk right now, or whatever it may be, and then we'll keep it going. We try to respond to the leads, however they respond to us. So if they respond by email, we'll keep the communication through email. If it's text, it's text. If it's calls, it's calls. Mm-hmm. So that we found that to work pretty well. But we haven't been, we don't have a text campaign, so to speak. Not to say I'm against it, but we haven't really done that much of it yet.
Okay, cool.
We kind of feel like texting is more personal. Like people are like, whoa, like we're close talking or something. We've entered their personal space. I don't know.
Right. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And so now, let's say you're at the point where you called 5-6 times, you left emails and voicemails. At that point, do you keep them in an email drip campaign where you send them emails?
We do.
How often do you email these leads?
So there's a few drip campaigns. So we utilize the Loud Rumor drip campaign. So we don't take them off that list if we've not been in touch with them at all. So we keep that going. Then that ends. And we actually use MailChimp for our drip campaigns. And we keep our emails very simple. So early on, I would spend 2 days on this super fancy colored, different font, cool email, and it was always an offer, like in your face offer.
I did too.
Yeah, and it was
until
talking
I learned.
at the client or at the lead, and not really. Anyway, So I learned the hard way that was not the right thing to do. And we send personalized emails.
Like
so
if you email them directly.
Yes.
A simple email.
The subject line, and this is something else I learned from people that were smarter than me. In the subject line, we put their name. More experience.
In that thing.
Yes.
Than you.
And then in sales today.
Right.
Because I feel like I kicked booty back in the day when I was selling a lot of memberships. I'm even back in the late 90s with my parents at that Curves. I mean, 10, 12, 14 memberships on one day sometimes was no big deal.
Right.
But things have changed. And back then, my dad would walk around handing out these cheesy flyers and it brought people in the door. You know? So that doesn't work so well anymore. But now it's an email with the subject line. It has their name in it, the person's
merge
name.
field.
Yes. And usually an exclamation point, like, it'll just say Mike.
Right.
I mean, who's not going to open that email? Whenever
Right.
I see that, I'm going to open it. And then the subject or the body of the email has their name.
Does it just say Mike?
Yeah.
Really?
It might even, well, the subject line would just say Mike exclamation point.
That's it.
That's it.
I've never thought of being that simple.
That simple. And it's coming from, say, Trish at EnVieFitness.com or Brittany at one of the girls. Or
Right.
we actually have one email address that goes to both of our sales girls so that they're both in that mailbox and they see
Right.
each other's responses. And then it has their name again in the body of the email, and it just might say something like, it has our schedule in the email, and it says
An image of your schedule?
an image
or-
of the schedule.
Okay.
And it says, we have a lot of new classes this month. Which one would you like to try first? And we end it with a question so that they feel obligated to respond.
Wow.
And at the bottom it just says Trish, or it would just say Liberty. No long, cool signature, nothing, just simple, simple, simple. We have had so many responses that way. Trust me, it
Really?
has blown my mind.
Really?
Because I was like, but that's so
I'm
cold.
going to give that a shot.
Give it a shot, because it literally was
That's
like one
really
or
cool.
two sentences ending with a question every time. And then once that person responds, we respond again to, with them. We're now having a conversation with
Now
them,
you're
not
engaged.
at them. We're engaged, but we always end it with another question. Oh, that you want to try, whatever class it is, muscle burn at 8:30? Great. Would you like to bring a friend? Question mark. And then they
Wow.
respond. So we have a lot of that. Or do you know where we're located is another big one. And just to let
That's
you
really
know,
cool.
yeah, we have a first time special. Little things like that in the emails, but
Awesome.
simple.
And you do
Simple,
that
simple.
how often?
Oh, we've been doing it probably every other week or so.
So twice a month?
Twice a month.
They should,
yeah.
So these leads should get an email from you.
Yes.
And do people opt out? Is
They
there
do.
a way? Okay,
yeah,
cool.
but I would say out of the 1,200
Right.
leads that we've
Right.
now collected, we get a couple opt-outs, not a lot.
That's cool.
And we've all decided as a team, like, hey, if someone says, leave me alone, we're okay. We're not going to take it personally.
Right.
But we get it. We don't, we've felt that same way, and they don't know us personally, so oh well. But,
Awesome.
Yeah, but it happens very rarely.
Thank you so much for sharing your sales process.
Of course.
Which is awesome because you're obviously growing, you're doing really well.
Yeah, and we can always get better. I mean, that's the thing I'd always like to say is, we want to double what we're doing now. And I think
Right.
every month we refine the process. And we're still only 10 months in, but I'd say by early 2017, we should be
What
really
I
tuned
find
in
fascinating about you and why I don't doubt that you're going to do it is that you're constantly learning how to do it better externally.
Yes.
Because one of the things I've noticed is, so take fitness, which is I always see as a parallel for business, right? So if, let's say I don't know much about fitness, just the basics, the real basics of fitness, right? I know that vegetables are good and I know chocolate's bad, right? And burgers are bad. So if that's all I know, I can't just go to a gym and I can't just a year from now be on stage competing. That's not gonna happen. Like, I don't have enough in here to do that.
Right.
I have to get external information
Yeah.
because there's a lot of ways to combine foods and there's a lot of ways to combine workouts and rest and all that stuff in a way to where that's how you can get to that level. You can always get to a decent level with what just makes sense to you and pushing and pulling stuff around in the gym and eating a certain way, but getting external knowledge and experience will always help you do better. And I think with what you've done is the same thing. So you didn't just say, okay, let's give this a shot. Okay, let's give this a shot. You said, I learned this sales strategy from this guy. I learned this email strategy from that guy. Oh, and I learned this cool thing from this guy. So you're actually reaching out to people.
Yeah.
So how do you decide who you're going to reach out to? Do you research?
Research and experience in the industry too.
Okay.
We had a few gals help us for a few months to get a third party, who's, I take I do take what I do very personally, and I've developed what we have so far, and I obviously have really smart people around me already, but I think I was too close to the process in every which way I could be. So when it wasn't going the way it should, I didn't quite know what to fix.
Right.
I knew, okay, we need more leads. And then, you guys sent us a cold email, basically, that both...
Did we? That's
yeah,
cool.
it was an
Cool.
email, and it worked, because 2 of us noticed it and didn't just hit delete or send it
Okay.
to junk. It was, we need to call this company.
That's
So
awesome.
it worked for us. And, and they seem like they really know what they're doing, and we need help generating leads. So that was step 1. Then it was, oh my gosh, we have so many more leads. And so anyway, had some really experienced, smart people come in to help us from a third-party perspective, and also maybe some of the knowledge I haven't been as close to in the last couple of years, because I've been closest to building EnVie. I haven't been to enough conferences. I haven't been to enough sales presentations and things of what the market is today. So instead of trying to get to all these places and still keep doing it myself, that doesn't make sense. Why don't we bring in other people? That's all they live and breathe and do. Refine and perfect our process, or as close to it as we can, and then we'll continue to refine it for what fits best for us.
So basically, what you're doing is what all these fitness studio owners want their members to do when they hire them.
Yeah.
And that's how they get better.
Yes.
And
That's what
so
we have to do.
all we're saying is for the fitness studio owner to do the same thing, because now what they want, their goal isn't fitness, it's business.
Yes.
And you're just saying, well, do the same thing.
Yes.
And
It
your
really
members are
is.
doing.
Hire a business trainer in a way.
Right.
And you don't need that person forever. Like, I would have loved these ladies to work with us forever, but that's not necessarily my budget either. So we, did as much as we could up to a certain point, and maybe we get to bring them back later, just like we would with a trainer. Maybe we hit a point where we're like,
Right.
the holidays are coming and now I have to buy presents for other people. So we'll put you on hold, but maybe next year we can bring you back. Same kinds of things that we're doing in our business. And I feel like even talking to you now, we're at like a 50% point of where I feel we should be. Mm-hmm. I feel like if you check back in 6 months, I can say, and now we learned this much more, and here's where we are
we'll
today.
do more episodes.
And it'll all
We'll do
keep,
more episodes.
yeah. But I can't wait to get to the point where it's like we set this goal that seemed really high and we exceeded it.
I don't know if you're the type of person that'll ever do that, because I feel like as soon as you get close, you'll like shoot
double
yourself
the
in the
goal.
foot and go, you know what, we're going to hit that next week. Let's just make this the goal.
Right. Well, maybe, but we're still refining and figuring things out. But I think we've come a really long way in this last 10 months, especially. Mm-hmm. And for me, I am the franchisor. We are the franchisor as a team. So to have this studio in San Diego to test on, it's not just a corporate studio either. I am the co-owner with another real person, and it's our real money that we invest every month in this. So I'm happy to be able to go to our franchisees and say, here's what we tried that worked. Here's what we tried that didn't work. Look, for 4 months we did this, didn't go so well, so we turned around and went that way, and now that's working.
And they probably
but we
love
did
you
it
for it.
ourselves. I hope so. I hope. That's what I think a strong system
Yeah,
needs.
you're right. I mean, that's what we want. We want people that are, if I'm a franchisee, I want somebody that's testing as well, not just giving me their ideas that I could
and
come
a real
up with.
legit test, not a test that's not realistic for me as another franchisee.
Right, right.
So a real test, like, okay, well, Liberty did that, and Encinitas, and we like to do things that are high impact, low cost,
Mm-hmm.
not so, of course, if we spent $5,000 in marketing, we're going to get more leads.
Right.
But our budget's like $1,000, so we can't do that, and we need to stay within those parameters because we need to build a real business model for ourselves in one location and as a franchise as a whole. It all has to be has to make sense, right?
Yeah, you have to have budgeting.
Scalable. Yeah, you have to have budgets. And make it
Okay, so let's talk about your retention.
yeah.
Because you have really great retention. We're at the Mind Body conference right now. So Liberty lives in a very different state than I do. So that's why we've worked together for 7 months or something like that, and we're just now meeting face to face because you're in a different state. But the conference that we're at is in your home state, and here we are. But we just got to listen to a really good speaker that's consulted over 1,000 fitness studios and gyms through Mind Body, right? And she has her own yoga studio and a couple other things as well. And she gave out some really interesting stats. Mm-hmm. So for those listening and watching, if you don't do accurate measuring, you're probably not noticing this, but Mind Body has the ability to see this over all their fitness studios. And what they've learned is group class type fitness studios, average retention rates 10%, which blew my mind because I was guessing it was like 50 to 70. I thought that was going to be average. But they're saying the average fitness studio and gym over the course of, after a 12-month period, the person they signed up 12 months ago is now no longer with them 90% of the time. Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
And they said that if you can retain 50% after a year, then you're like the best of the best in group classes, which is crazy, right?
It's crazy.
So not to make your head too big, but you're retaining a lot better than that.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you're still within your first year,
Yes.
but at the end of the day, you have 150 members, and if you lose like 2 or 3, that's like, oh, okay, that's like normal at most.
It's normal. It still kills me every time.
Of course.
And you know, one thing that I hadn't even talked to you about was also saving memberships. When someone tries to cancel,
That's a sale.
It's not automatic, okay, you can cancel. It's also a matter of reaching out to the person to find out, why are you canceling? What's really going on? Might you just put them on hold for a month because maybe they're having some financial stuff going on and they're like, well, I actually will be okay by November. So it's really also saving, because I would have had another 2 cancellations last month had I not reached out to those 2 women to talk to them. And one of them was like, you know what, never mind. I think I was like crazy for a day and I didn't really mean, I love you guys. I don't really want to cancel. Okay.
But the funny thing is, if you didn't do that call,
yeah,
she would have canceled. She wouldn't have come back and she'd be embarrassed.
Right. Well, and I first offered her a discount for the next month to say, look, I don't know if it's financial or not, but would it help you? Because she lives kind of far away. So I thought, to make it a little bit more reasonable for you, since you're not coming as often as you'd like, can I give you a discount for next month and then you can fill it out? And she said, you know what, no, don't even give me a discount. I love it. I'm good. I'm sticking with it.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's created this beautiful testimonial video for us, and
So she became a better customer.
Yeah.
And she's probably less likely to cancel again.
I would hope so, because we love her, so I don't want to see her go anywhere.
How crazy is that?
And another
though, when you
one
think
was a
about
young woman, you know, and she had some family support that was no longer going to be there anymore, so it was financial. So we worked on some things with her to try to be flexible, and she's staying.
And the same reason somebody wouldn't save a membership is the same reason why they don't sign them up. They don't want to be salesy.
Right.
They don't want to be pushy.
Right.
You weren't salesy or pushy.
I literally say, there's no way I'm letting you cancel.
Well,
That's what I tell them.
Well, that's what
I'm sorry, but no.
But that's what some people want.
Yeah, where are you going to go?
Some people want that because they need to stay in shape.
Yes.
And you know what the funny thing is? I hear family members and friends say it all the time, where I need somebody to tell me to work out. I need somebody to tell me what to do. I need somebody they want to use their husband or their wife, or they want to use their brother, or even as an accountability buddy, and be like, no, I need you to make sure I go to the gym. I need you to. Well, it's like, look, don't let your husband do that, because you're gonna get mad at him when he does.
Yeah.
Just let me do it, because
Right.
you're not gonna get mad at me.
Right. That's what we're here for.
That's why you're paying us,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, I really love that. So, so let's talk about outside of saving memberships, which is brilliant. So hope you guys all got that. But retaining, you do some really great stuff with Facebook groups.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about your Facebook group process and how that's helped you since you've implemented it.
Yep. So it's been a couple of months now. Basically what I noticed, I know how important Facebook is for our business. And my studio and our franchise is geared toward a lot of middle-aged women, like a lot of moms, like the average mom is kind of our average member. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those moms are on Facebook. That's a primary chunk of people right now. And so Facebook has been really important both for advertising and paid advertising, but also just to keep a really, a great page out to the public, right? But I noticed that there wasn't a lot of interaction with our existing members on our page, and as much as I would try to start the conversation, it wasn't going as strongly or as publicly as I wanted it to. And so I started talking to the members, and a lot of them said, well, you know, I don't know, I'm just not really a public person. I'm more the Facebook person, like I'll scroll through my feed and hit like, but I don't even post stuff, I don't want to post stuff. And I said, well, what if we have something private that's really just for our members? Would you be more willing to interact? Oh, that'd be awesome. And then I'd see the other members too. Yes. So we started a private Facebook group, and it was a little challenging at first because if I wasn't already friends with a member, I friended them, and but it wasn't that big of a deal. So eventually
I had to do the same thing with our group.
Yeah. So then we got everyone into the private Facebook group, and it kind of took on a life of its own. So I guided them at first to say, this is a place for inspiration, motivation, post funny pictures, post if you need help with something, whatever it is. We really haven't had to have rules. Maybe some people will have to have rules, but we've been lucky. But this is your place as an EnVie Fitness Encinitas member. And members are involved, staff members are involved, instructors are involved, and it's just constant communication. We can post updates easily, like if, we have a change to the schedule even that day, like this morning I actually woke up to a text from an instructor who had an overnight family emergency, her 7:15 a.m. class. So I knew I wasn't going to get a sub for her, but I could at least post to the member page. They get a notification right away to say, look, Lori had a last minute emergency. There's no 7:15 TRX class. We're so sorry. And then it's not even, oh, we're so angry. It's, Lori, we hope everything's okay. We love you, and then things like that. So it's all very positive.
Because they get to know, because you guys, and that's another thing you guys do, which we'll dive into it, but that's another thing you guys do, which is your team builds relationships really well with the members.
Yes, and our instructors are constantly posting. Maybe our Zumba instructor posts a funny image, that has to do with Zumba, and looking forward to seeing you ladies tonight. She can tag members that she knows are supposed to be there because they've said they're going to be there. So it's a lot of accountability too.
Now, one of the things that they said in that same talk, just now that we were just in, was personal training, one-on-one, doesn't have a 10% retention rate after 12 months. They have a 50 to 70% retention rate.
Right.
And they said it's due to the personality, understanding their personality better, becoming friends, developing that relationship. And so because I have that, I'm less likely to cancel because I feel like I'm canceling on a person, not on a thing. Right.
So the members get to know each other. And
well, what I'm saying, a personal trainer.
Right.
But you've implemented that in your group fitness place.
Yes.
And so now that's why it's working for you.
So if it was hard for a client to cancel on a personal trainer, imagine a client not only canceling on, a personal trainer, but like a whole gym full of members
that are all giving their all to be in there.
Yeah, and they all know each other and they only want to encourage each other. So, if the member that might have canceled, but I saved her membership, was suddenly gone, everyone would start asking about her and, hey, what happened? And she knows that if she leaves, it's not just leaving the gym and she's a faceless person.
Right.
So people often say that our gym is like Cheers. Everyone knows your name, except we're not drinking, we're working out. But we might go out for wine later, who knows? But, and things like that. If we're actually throwing a baby shower for one of our members this weekend.
In the gym?
In the gym.
That's
so
cool.
we have a really pretty courtyard, really fortunate for our location. So we're having it's a 1 hour baby shower for Nora. She's having a little girl.
That's cool.
And we made an invitation. One of our instructors made a digital invitation and we posted it on our private Facebook group and all the members can see it and they're liking it and saying congratulations and who's going to be there and
that's really
stuff
cool.
like that. So the members go to that, they know they're updated. They are, their heart gets warmed. It's just this inspiring forum that
and they know that eventually
using.
It'll be my turn if something happens, right?
Absolutely. We can acknowledge members too.
So what, for people that aren't as creative or feel like they're not as creative because they haven't exercised those juices yet, what are some things that they can post to start igniting all that? Because you have to begin it, right?
You do.
Members don't just
That's
start
true.
doing it. You have to kind of encourage it.
Yeah. I think there's two things. One is everyone knows their members who would get involved in something like that. So I would say recruit a couple of members to start posting. So there were a few ladies who I knew were really active on social media. So I had let them know, hey, I'm starting this private group. I'm adding everyone into it. Will you be one of the first to post? And they did. So, pictures, just funny things. Everyone's Googling now, funny fitness picture, and there's some funny thing, ha ha ha. Or, tagging members and other people, their staff, getting instructors to post too.
So asking members to do it?
Asking members to get involved. Because I think if just the studio owner is always the one posting, it gets kind of old. So I try to even back off. And maybe that's the point I've come to. Initially, I did have to post more. But even updates, calling out something different on the schedule, depends on the time of month too.
Cool.
Mid-month. We run point contests so the heart rate monitoring system we use gives points for each workout, and we have all these goals that we make. So we give rewards to the top 3 point earners, but I actually don't announce that until mid-month because for the members that have been slacking for the first 2 weeks, seeing that post mid-month gets them reignited for the rest of the month, and it's still a tangible, hey, maybe I can win this. And actually our point winner from last month, I haven't announced yet, but that's what made her the winner for last month, is at the 15th, she was like, oh my gosh, I kind of forgot about the point challenge, and it did fire me up. And she came in the day after I posted it, she said, I never would have come in today had I not seen that post. So things like that. So
I want to talk about the points as well.
Yes.
Because you found a way to gamify it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's been this one hair I've been trying to move. I got it.
I haven't noticed it.
Okay.
So it's all you.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the gamifying because I think it was brilliant because I listened to a podcast that talks a lot about this and it was great. before we get into that, I want to be a good student. And you said that in your Facebook group, you recruit a member. So I'm going to recruit you in our Loud Rumor Elite Facebook group.
Happy
so
to
I'm
do
recruiting
it.
you to post to
I
help
will.
others engage. Okay,
Awesome.
deal?
Awesome, deal.
All right,
I
cool.
can do that.
All right, so now let's talk about the points, because you use that as leverage as well for really creating a game out of it and gamifying. If you guys ever heard of D News Plus, it's the letter D News Plus. Sam, if you could put it on the screen for the podcast and the YouTube channel. There was a particular episode, and Sam, if you could put this episode, it was about fitness and the mindset of fitness. It's like maybe 45 minutes long in the podcast episode, or it's broken up into like 5-7 minute videos in YouTube. But he talks about gamification and how to use that thing that people have learned. Like, we like this stuff, right? Like Pokemon Go. People like that whole getting points, and all the Facebook things. There's Farmville, and there's, I don't know what else there's a bunch of Facebook games, right?
Yeah.
And we just like getting these points, these little dings over and over and over, because it keeps us going. It's like little wins, little bite-sized wins all the time. That don't cost the company any money. It's just bite-sized wins.
Yes.
So you found a way to gamify the experience for the members, so they can continue working out more often,
Yes.
which gets them more results, which gets them happy and gets to know everybody else more and makes it a habit, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about your game and how did you do it?
Yeah, so I had learned something very interesting a few years ago. I was working with an advertising agency that specialized in franchising, so I was doing consulting work. And they had a client where the client learned that the major decision maker in a household about plumbing was typically the female, and it was a female between the age of 35 and 55. And when the agency researched that demographic more, they learned that they were the #1 users of those online games.
Really?
Believe it or not. Women between in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are on those games all the time.
Okay.
So that always struck a chord with me, because I've been in women's fitness primarily most of my life. So I thought, well, we really need to pay attention to that. And in talking to my members, they're competitive, and they're competitive in a loving way. It's not like, I'm going to get her. But in learning that mentality, it makes sense that if someone isn't always seeing the scale change, or always even seeing inches reduce on their body, if they can see some other set another goal or see some other change, that's going to help keep them motivated, and if they can win something, even better. So we use MyZone currently with our studio, and MyZone has a point system. So you get certain amount of points for being in certain zones, and we train in each class or each session according to intervals. And so we spend so much time in a high zone and so much time in a lower zone, and we're constantly going up and down. But by the end of each workout, we actually have a goal number of points that our members should reach. And the points are not based on weight, they're not based on height, they're not based on calorie burn, it's time spent in the zone. Okay. So it completely levels that playing field for every single member.
And so what the cool thing is, you're taking your mind off of the pain that you may be going through, right? That, I'm still doing this exercise.
Yes.
And they're focused on where they're at in that zone.
Yes. So if you imagine a spin class, for example, spinning is my favorite thing to teach. So we're all on our spin bikes working really hard, and there's a screen in front of everyone, and all of our heart rates and percent of max heart rates are on that screen. It's color coded. There's 4 zones. There's blue, green, yellow, and red. Blue being the lowest zone, 60 to 70% of the max. Red being 90% and above.
When you say max heart rate.
Max heart rate,
right.
Yes.
Okay.
So in certain parts of that class, we're just going to be, singing our hearts out to some 80s song, and we're maybe in the green zone. But then we're going to get like a gnarly techno song on. We're going to do sprint intervals and hit 92% of our max. Well, everyone, no matter what their fitness level, can get there. But you might be going at a different pace than
I may stay there
Sally
for maybe
over
20
here.
seconds and then drop down because I can't take it.
Yes, or it's going to be easier for you to get to red zone the less fit you are. The more fit someone is, like some of my girls who have been working out with me now for 10 months, where it used to be really easy to get to the red zone because they were deconditioned, now it's so hard for them to get to red because they're so much more fit. So they're having to work so much harder. But whether she's working so much harder or it doesn't take as much, it's still the level playing field because they're hitting red, yellow, green, and blue. It's relative. So we can say in one of our 55-minute spin classes that you should earn at least 200 points. Everyone across the board, no matter what your fitness level, 200 points is your goal. Don't worry about your calories, don't worry about anything else. If you stay in the zones I tell you to stay in for this class, you will hit 200 points and you've got your perfect workout. And we always promise strength, cardio, and flexibility in every zone class.
And how many do you think, what's the max?
Points?
Yeah.
I've had members hit 240 points in an hour class, which is a lot.
Okay.
That's a lot. And that might even mean they're pushing to the red zone too much. So then I know to discuss with them. If I see someone hit 240 points, I'm going to go, yeah, Cheryl, way to go. However, for results, you want to interval train.
You're burning some muscle.
Yeah, and I always use myself as an example because I've been a trainer for 20 years, and everyone always goes, you have that vein, and your body fat, what is it? And I've never had that until the last year in using this system and in interval training the way I have. And if anything, I work out less some weeks than I used to. I used to overtrain and overrun and overdo everything, and now I'm training more efficiently, and I'm seeing better results because of the heart rate monitoring and setting goals like these little points.
Right.
And last month I earned more of those points than I ever had before because I'm setting goals for myself too, and I want to be a good example for the members.
I kind of wish your gym was like by my house. That
I know,
sounds really cool.
but then you'd have to wear a dress or something because it's for girls.
It's only for girls?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know
I think you
that.
weren't thinking about that. We're just
No.
for women.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. You know, and the funny thing is, there's another franchise that we work with that has a cool concept, Jabs, and they're only for women too. And like I like the like I have a relationship with them just like I have with you,
Yes.
and I would like to go in there just to like support, you know.
Well, and you know
check
what
out the
though?
class.
You've met Tony, one of our instructors. He's
Yes.
a guy. So it's not like any women's gym, we can't technically discriminate. So we gear everything. We say booty a lot, and it's very girly. But if a guy ever wants to come in, we let him. So
Yeah.
one of our investors came in the other day. He's a guy, and he said, they call me Libs. He said, Libs, can you tell the girls I'm not a creepy dude? And he's so not creepy. No one involved in our company is. But you know, there's something very different about training men and women.
Okay.
And women's bodies versus men's bodies, and what women like to do at the gym, generally speaking, versus what men like to do. So
Got it.
we're not overly pink and frilly, but we definitely gear our workouts toward women's bodies.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you're doing so many things right, and that's why I wanted to get you on, you know, and obviously you have a great background behind you. It's not like you got lucky, right? And it's because there's a lot of people not a lot of people, there's a few people that will get lucky, right? And they just kind of implement a system that's successful.
Yes.
That a lot of people will test things to get to that point eventually.
Right.
But you didn't. You've had 60 some locations. You for sure failed at a lot of things in the past because that's the only way you win like that, right? Is
Yes.
by failing.
Yes.
And
there have been many failures in between.
yeah.
Yeah, roller coaster. Right.
And you've invested in coaching, you've invested in bringing in people, invested in time and mentorship and all that stuff. And so you've taken the time to really develop yourself, not just as a fitness person, but as a business person, to be able to live out your dreams in the fitness world, right? Which is great. And that's something that I really admired about you. And that's something that I want everybody that's watching, 'cause the people that are watching, the people that are listening to this podcast, they're fitness studio owners, they're gym owners, and a lot of them don't know what they don't know. They get into this and they think, you know, okay, I'm the best trainer at whatever gym I was an employee at, and you know, everybody was requesting me, and I have a great relationship. I was the one everybody wanted to talk to, and my sister's telling me I should open up my own gym, and my sister's not a business person, and my best friend's saying you should open up your own gym. Everybody likes you. One of my members, who's also not a business person, is telling me I should open up my own place. I'd make so much more, and I do the math in my head, and I go, man, I would make a lot more if I just had my own place. You start your own place, and you don't realize that where you were working was spending money in marketing. Where you were, the people that got there somehow. It wasn't just because like the door was there and like people just walked in it. Because you know that doesn't work.
Right.
It'd be cool if the doors just brought people in, right?
Absolutely. If you build it, they will not necessarily
No,
just come.
they will not come.
Yeah.
And so, and they didn't realize that there was HR stuff, there was financial stuff, there was books, there's budgeting, and there's a lot of stuff that comes along with being a business owner that you know you don't even know to expect until you get into it. And so the whole idea of the GSD show, we never on any of these episodes tell people how to be a better fitness professional. Never. I don't want to tell you how to do measurements. I don't want to tell you how to train people, because I think you're so passionate in that, you've built an expertise around that. You don't need that. I want people to understand there's so much more to running a fitness business than just that, and every episode is dedicated to helping you in one of those areas. And today you've helped out in about 3 or 4 different areas, which is really cool, and I appreciate it. And I think, you know, next time I'm in California, I don't care. They can say booty. I may come in and take a class regardless.
Yes,
Just
you
let them know I'm not the
should.
creepy guy. And I would like to do another part of this episode. I think it'd be
Awesome.
great and kind of see how far you come along. Because something tells me you're going to go a long way just in a 6-month period.
Thank you.
Cool?
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being on. I
It's my
appreciate it.
pleasure.
And looking forward to seeing what you do in the next 6 months.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care. We'll do the hug on
Thank
this
you. Yay,
episode. All right.
good. Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you like this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.